though.
Hi everybody, it's Onyx here, and today bringing you part 1 of What If Deku had full counter. Just like the thumbnail, as you would may guess, you know what the ship is. And also, I would like to say that I do not own the art of the thumbnail. All credit goes to Alex2400. And also, some things might be similar from his script, which I'll try my best to actually replicate correctly. And also guys, if you guys would like to see more videos like this in the future, please tell me in the comment section down below. And if you guys would like the next part, just hit the like button, I guess, and enjoy the video. We're gonna begin our what if off with Izuku Midoriya waking up for his 4th birthday, as Izuku was ecstatic knowing that he's going to go to the quirk doctor today and see what his quirk was, because recently Bakugo has started to bully people because recently he started to actually get an ego because of his quirk unlocking and having a flashy quirk known as explosions. As we cut back to Izuku's point of view, with Izuku rushing into his mother's room, jumping straight on her and asking her, can they go to the quirk doctor today? Can they? Izuku shouted as he jumped up and down in pure joy. As Inko replied saying, yes, of course, Izuku, we can go to the quirk doctor in a little bit, okay? We just need to get you ready and go to the store really quick, okay? Okay, mommy, Izuku said in a very cheerful tone, as Izuku got ready for his first day as 4 years old. As Izuku walked downstairs to be greeted by his mum and father. Yes, Hasashi isn't a deadbeat in this one. As Izuku ran up to his father, hugging him, saying, Papa, aren't we going to the quirk doctor today? Izuku said in a cheerful tone, trying to get his father to take him first thing, even though Inko already told Izuku that they needed to go shopping first. As Hasashi managed to influence Inko to actually do the quirk doctor first, and it saves Izuku consistently droning on about it for the rest of the day. As Inko would have gave in, as she would have just said yes to Izuku going to the quirk doctor first thing, as Izuku would have got ready and arrived at the quirk doctor that day, as his quirk would have been assigned as full counter. After many tests and many fails and trials, they managed to actually figure out what it was, as Izuku would have been told back to go back to his mother and father, which Izuku did so, as Izuku arrived back at his mom and dad sitting in the lounge area in the hospital room, as Izuku would have tugged on his parents' t-shirt asking them to go back to the room so they can go get his quirk evaluated. Inko, Hasashi and Izuku both walked into the room with the doctor smiling. This doctor is the same like the original, as they all were told to sit down, as Inko would have asked them why the doctor was smiling so brightly, as the doctor would have replied saying, your son has a really powerful quirk. It's called full counter. He can take blasts and redirect them, but the only downside to this, he has to have a sword or some form of thing on him that can redirect the power. The only way he can actually activate his quirk is if he swings his arm out. That's so cool, Izuku said, cheering as loud as he could, as Izuku just said, so I can be a hero? Yes, you can, son, Hasashi said in a very cheerful tone, as they all thanked the doctor who did Izuku's quirk evaluation, as they both went to the mall to go to shopping district. As they all were shopping, as Izuku ran into a store to pick something up from a store, this being an All Might figurine that he's wanted for a while, as Izuku used his birthday money to buy it, as Izuku was walking around the store see if there was anything else he wanted, because he still had $10 left. I don't know what that is in yen, so you guys gonna have to do the calculations for yourself. As Izuku was finishing walking around the store, as he saw something that caught his eye. Let's just say this was chocolate. As Izuku went to go pick it up and went to the cash register and bought it. As Izuku walked out holding his mom and dad's hand, skipping very cheerfully through the mall. While Izuku was skipping, being very cheerful, Izuku felt the ground rumble from underneath him. As Izuku looked looked down to see the ground had cracks in it almost, as Izuku would have looked up to see a wall being smashed through. This person who smashed through being All Might, as All Might crashed into a store, as a man was floating through the store windows that All Might smashed through, this being a man called All For One, as All Might would have saw this charging back at the man, but realizing there was a bunch of civilians around the area, as All Might couldn't go 100% all out, no matter if he tried to. As All Might tried to escape the building, but was stopped by All For One's wind cannon, throwing All Might back into the ground. As Asashi would have saw this because he is the number 3 hero of Japan in this timeline, as Hisashi would have charged in at All For One, as All For One would have noticed him, grabbing him by the throat, slamming him into the ground, as Izuku would have shouted, "Dad!" Izuku would have shouted out, as Inko would have just told Izuku to run while she tries to hold him off long enough, as All For One would have charged, or at least tried to charge at them, but was stopped by All Might's 100% smash, sending All For One into the floor, leaving a massive crater, this giving Izuku Inko given enough time to run, as Hisashi would have tried to stand up, which he succeeded in, as Hisashi would have tried to help All Might in this, but All Might would just tell him to run. "This fight isn't for you, Hisashi. Go, now!" All Might shouted at him, as All Might would have just shouted this at Hisashi, as Hisashi would have complied and ran to his family. But before Hisashi could even get close to his family, All For One would have used his quirk activation tendrils and throw Hisashi to him, stealing his quirk in the process of this, as Asashi's body just went completely limp, as this annoyed All Might because one of his closest friends just got his quirk stolen right in front of him, but he thought he was dead, so All Might lost it, as All Might just used 100% straight away and charged straight at All For One, knocking him into the sky, as All Might would have just gone, "You bastard! You dare hurt him!" All Might shouted at the top of his lungs, while All Might was throwing 100% barrage smashes at All For One's head, knocking him back loads of feet, as his All Might would have managed to get some space in between them, as All Might would have took this time to try and recover as much stamina as he possibly could. As we cut back to Izuku and Inko's point of view, with Izuku crying his eyes out seeing his papa, thinking he might be dead. "Papa? Dad?" Izuku said in a very quiet tone. "Please wake up. This isn't funny," Izuku said, as Zuku started to pull his father's arm to see if he was still awake, as Inko started to test for his pulse, realizing there was one not there, or one wasn't there to be more precise, as Inko started to cry and hug Izuku as she carried him out of there. Unbeknownst to them, All For One was watching them while fighting All Might. I wonder," All For One said, as All For One covered himself in that black goo that they showed in Series 3 with All Might versus All For One, as All For One decided to teleport right in front of Inko and Izuku, as All For One grabbed Izuku out of Inko's arms, as Inko tried to grab Izuku but she couldn't reach for him, as All For One just decided to blast her back. All Might seeing this, he would have jumped in and caught her at the exact moment she was about to slam into a wall, as All Might shouted, "Damn you, All For One! Preying on the weak so you can get your way again, I see," All Might shouted. "I will not let you harm that kid," All Might shouted, as All Might tried to charge at him, but unknown to them, All Might was about to almost kill Izuku, as All For One just decided to put his hand on Izuku's face. Symbol of peace. If you come any closer, this kid's about to understand a world of pain," All For One said in a very menacing tone, as we cut to Izuku's point of view, shaking, scared for his life, as Izuku would have tried to get out of there, but he was still struggling and struggling, as All For One said to him, "Stop struggling, child, or you will hurt," All For One said, as All For One placed his hand on Izuku's face, as a red crimson light decided to envelop Izuku from All For One's hand. "I always wondered what would happen if I combined these two quirks together. Well, No time like the present, All For One said while menacingly laughing, as crimson lightning spread around Izuku's entire body. As All For One's lightning faded, Izuku burst into black flames, as Izuku's eye turned crimson black. As Izuku looked over at All For One, as All For One was just smiling at him. There we go! Perfect specimen, All For One said. As All For One started to laugh maniacally, All Might, the moment he dropped Izuku, rushed in there at beyond of 100%, as he smashed All For One into the ground just like the cannon when All Might destroyed his face, leaving Izuku to fly into the air. No one realized this except from Endeavor, as Endeavor flew in there, catching the little boy in his arms. As Endeavor decided to descend down to the floor and return the young youth to his mother, who was on the floor near the hospital ambulance and everything like that and above. As All Might would have defeated All For One just like the original anime, as All Might wouldn't be too injured in this original because he wouldn't be as reckless. As we cut back to Izuku's point of view, as Izuku was running to his mother, crying on her lap, as Inku just hugged her child and thanking Endeavor for saving her baby boy. As Izuku went to the hospital that day, as Izuku was checked out for everything and there was barely any injuries on him, only a couple of scrapes and scratches on his face. As for Inko, she only had 2 or 3 broken ribs, which was covered by All Might because he wanted to understand what All For One wanted with them. As All Might sat at the bottom of the hospital bed, explaining what they're going to have to do. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Midoriya, we're going to have to put you into intensive care. Basically, we're going to have Bro Heroes watch you 24/7. Would that be alright? As Inko didn't have a second thought and instantly said yes to this. Inko was still grieving on the thought of losing her husband, so she had to push those feelings down to make sure she takes care of Izuku. As those couple of days went by, Izuku was moved to a different school multiple times, so he can actually not be found out about people like that. As around Izuku was moving around schools, he saw someone getting bullied, as Izuku would have ran up to them, asking them why the hell are they bullying her, as they would have reneged, saying, well, she has a flashy quirk, so we're better off just burning it into her head that she's useless now, since she won't be able to become a hero in the future, and that leaves us, top number 1. Ha! As they both started laughing maniacally, as this would have pissed off Izuku beyond compare, as Izuku's mark on his forehead started to show glimpses of it, as Izuku pulled out a little black flame in his hand and threw it at the boy without realizing it, burning the boy's clothes off entirely. Around this time, Izuku would be around about 7 years old because he would have been moved around so much, as Izuku went to the girl asking her if she was alright, as Izuku introduced himself as Izuku Midoriya. It's very nice to meet you. As this blue-haired girl would have introduced herself as Nejire Hado. Be continued. Thank you everyone for enjoying this video, and if you guys want more of this video, please tell me in the comment section down below. And also, if you guys would like to see the full series or the original series, please check the link down in the description, or just type in Alex2400 on YouTube, and then you guys will have the original series there. But see you guys later. Peace out.